Today, I want to talk to you about something that I struggle with every single day, and that's work life balance. And I'm going to start off by asking you a few questions. Honestly, do you ever feel like you're always working, but you never get ahead? And on the flip side of that, when you're at home enjoying yourself or maybe watching a movie with your family, do you ever feel like, man, I should be using this time to catch up with something I've been doing at work? I know that I constantly struggle with this, and you you aren't alone if you are feeling this way. People like Dwayne The Rock Johnson, a huge movie star, openly talks about how sometimes he gets burnt out and he had to reprioritize the way he thinks about life. And to be honest, this all kind of starts with work-life balance. I come to realize that working harder isn't always the best way to get ahead in life. It's really about working smarter and making sure that your work life is coming into perfect balance with your at home life. Because work, yes, you can enjoy it, and yes, you might love what you do, but what you're going to get the most fulfillment out of is your home life, spending time with your kids, maybe enjoying yourself with your wife, or going and taking your dog for a walk. Your personal life is just as important as your work life. But if you focus too much on one and neglect the other, you're eventually going to get burned out. And in today's video, I want to talk to you about 5 strategies that I personally use in order to help improve my work-life balance. And honestly, I feel way less stressed, and I feel like I've mastered the art of work-life balance. Let's get into it. So first, let's define what work-life balance is. To me, it's defined as a state where your personal life and your work life exist perfectly, and neither one of them are going to overwhelm the other. That means that you're not completely focusing on work and working 50, 60, 80 hours and then going home feeling completely exhausted and not having time for your family. And then on the flip side of that, you're not going to work and constantly texting your wife or constantly texting your kids to the point where you can't get anything done at your job. Work life balance is going to look a little different for everybody based off your career and how demanding it is for you. But honestly, making your way to work life balance is going to have certain components to it, and this is going to be the same for everybody. Those components are, you got to have time management. You got to understand how to manage your stress. You got to understand how to set healthy boundaries for yourself. And fourth, and maybe even the most important, you got to take some time out to make sure that you are doing some self-care to take care of yourself. So look, let's get one thing out the way. Work-life balance does not mean that you are going to be 50-50 in work and home. Honestly, sometimes that's impossible. If you're a doctor and your life is super demanding, you may not be able to spend the exact amount of time at home as you spend at work. But what it does mean is whenever you go home from your job, you're going to be fully engaged with what you're doing at home, and you're not going to take your job home with you. And on the flip side of that, when you're at work, you're at work. You're not constantly thinking about what's happening at home because you understand that you are going to be fully engaged at one thing at a time. So the real goal is going to be to focus on energy and attention, and not just the hours that you're going to be in one place or the other, because sometimes you can be physically there, but you might not be mentally there. So honestly, you might be asking, why is work-life balance even important? So look, studies show that people who are constantly being overworked are going to lead to fatigue, and honestly, it's going to lead to poor performance and even lower output. Over time, people who are putting in 50, 60, 70 hours are a lot of the times going to be less productive than people who are putting in 40 hours but are staying fully focused the whole time. So clearly, working more hours isn't the solution. It's the quality of work that you're having done when you're at work. So look, now that we understand what work-life balance is and how it can be affecting you in a negative way, let's talk about some strategies in order to achieve work-life balance. The number one strategy that we're going to be talking about today is time blocking. Time blocking is going to be planning your day out with true intention and understanding what you're going to be doing so you can focus on the main thing. First, you want to make sure that you are blocking out some time for deep, focused work. And what do I mean by this? You want to make sure that during this time, let's say when you get to work from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., you don't want to be doing multitasking. You want to make sure you identify what's one of the most important things I need to be doing today. And during these hours, I want to be focusing primarily on that without any distractions. Then within your time blocking period, you want to make sure that you're planning in mental breaks. So maybe after every 2 hours, you get up and you take a walk and you get some fresh air. Or maybe you do a little scrolling on Facebook. Whatever it is that you do to help yourself relax, make sure you incorporate that within your time block. You also want to plan some personal time that's non-negotiable. And I mean every single day you want to plan some personal time. For me, I'm super unflexible. So around 9 o'clock every night, I make sure that I do a little bit of yoga. And during this time, I don't scroll any social media. I don't listen to music. I just take deep breaths and I make sure that's my personal time with myself. Let's look at an example of what time blocking may look like for you. So from 9 to 11, you may want to do something like deep work. So whatever the important subject matter of the day is, you want to be deeply focusing on that for 2 hours without any distractions. So after that intense focused work, you are going to need time to refresh, go through a mental reset. So that's when you would plan your lunch and maybe plan a walk, go outside and get some fresh air. And then after that, from 5:30 to 7, that is going to be that non-negotiable personal time. So you might do something that help you release stress, like work out. And then you would also tack in some time for family. Maybe you go and do something with your kids. Y'all whip out the coloring book. Do something that's non-negotiable in that personal time that can make you happy. So this time blocking is set up to just make sure that you protect your priorities and you're keeping the main thing the main thing. Strategy number 2 is going to be say no confidently. And honestly, I'm sure a lot of us struggle with this, especially when our boss comes around the corner and asks us to do some things that we know is going to stress us out. Look, you may not be able to say no to your boss, but you can say no to your peers whenever they ask you to tack on some of their work to your work. Or you can say no to your friends whenever they ask you to maybe move all day on a Wednesday. You can learn to confidently say no. I've struggled with this in the past myself. So when you can say no to the people that are less important to your boss, these are some lines that you can say to them. I have other priorities today. And honestly, you do have other priorities. Taking care of yourself, making sure that you are doing that personal time to get that mental refresh that you need. And you might be able to say something else like, let's schedule that for tomorrow. Schedule it during a time where you block off your focus time, when you are ready to intensely focus on something important. Don't let them come to you at the end of the day with something that you know is going to force you to work longer and that you know is going to stress you out to the point that you're going to have to take it home with you. Be able to set boundaries for yourself and protect your mental space. Strategy number 3 is going to build personal rituals for yourself. So personal rituals are going to help you reduce stress because you know every day that at 9 a.m. I'm going to brush my teeth. At 10 a.m. I'm going to write in my journal. At 11 a.m. I'm going to stretch. And then at 12 a.m. I'm going to eat lunch. Doing those daily habits is going to actually make you stress less because it's less decision you have to make on a daily basis. Another example is saying every evening at 7 p.m. I'm going to unplug and read a book. And that might be for 20 minutes out the day. Or you can set weekly rituals. So Sunday, I'm going to sit down and write my goals. Or Sunday, I'm going to make sure that I reach out to all my family members to check up on them and see how they're doing. Setting these rituals and habits are going to make your days and weeks so much easier because it's going to be clear when you need to do things. And it's going to be easy for you to make sure that you're prioritizing not only work, but your personal life. So strategy number 4 is going to be understand that being imperfect is normal. Honestly, no matter how hard you work at work, nothing that you turn into your boss is going to be perfect. And no matter how hard you try when you go home to your kids, they're never going to completely love that birthday gift you buy them. They're never going to completely love the way you clean up. Something you do is always going to be imperfect. So you have to accept that. And some of the things I do to help myself recognize that I'm never going to be perfect is I ask myself some questions. Did I feel present this week? So, do I feel like when I was working, I was engaged? Or do I feel like when I was spending time with my family, I was giving them everything that I can give them? Another question that I ask myself is, was I overextending myself this week? Did I promise too many people that I will be able to deliver something that I wasn't able to deliver? And the last thing I might ask myself is, what needs attention next week? What did I neglect that I need to put more attention to? So, was it work? Do I need to send out more emails? Do I need to complete more tasks? Do I need to push out a script that I didn't push out? Or was it home life? Did I tell my wife that I love her? Or did I take my kids to the park when I promised to? What do I need to pay more attention to? And what did I neglect? Balance is a practice. And honestly, the goal is to reach perfection in balance, but you're never going to be perfect. All you can do is make sure you're achieving those daily habits you set up for yourself in order to be as good as you possibly can be. So let's throw up a quick start plan for you. How you can achieve work-life balance. And like we said, you have to build those small habits. So the first thing I would suggest is daily. Block out 1 hour for yourself. Do 1 hour of something that you love, whether that's watching TV full of drama or taking a walk. Block out 1 hour for yourself. Next, set a boundary every single week for yourself. So maybe that boundary is going to say, look, I'm not going to work past 30 minutes today beyond my normal work hours. You set that boundary. Or say, hey, I'm sorry, kids, I love going to the park with you, but we can't stay here more than an hour. We have to go home and do something else. Set a boundary for yourself weekly that can help you gain that peace of mind. Next, add one 10-minute personal ritual. For me, I do yoga daily because it helps me become more flexible, it helps me breathe, and it helps me clear my mind after a long, stressful day. And then finally, you may want to take the time out and reflect. I normally reflect once a week on a Sunday. I give myself 30 minutes a day to go over what I did this week. Do I feel like I was achieving my goals? And what did I fall short? And how can I become better? Follow this quick step plan honestly, and you will eventually find yourself balancing your life out naturally. So look, work-life balance is going to be an ongoing journey for you. Every day you're going to find yourself making mistakes, not only at work, but at home. This is going to be a journey. You have to slowly balance your life out and then make sure you maintain it once you find a balance. But just remember, small, consistent efforts are going to lead to long-term happiness in your life. And I'm going to challenge you to comment one habit that you're going to commit to doing this week. Just one habit that you can share with the rest of us. And maybe a week later, we can check on you and see if you got that habit done. So hopefully you can implement this strategy so as a community, we can all be less stressed and find ourselves being more happier in the long term. Thank you for watching. Drop that habit in the comments, and I'll see you next time.